Alrighty, let's get into editing this waterfall video. What's going on there? No sound. Oh no. No. And that's all she wrote. And that's the way the video would have started if everything had gone to plan. So my intention was to make a video on waterfall photography and the importance of using a polarizing filter. But as you can see, all my pieces to camera ended up without any sort of audio. So many things went wrong on that day, and this was just the beginning. This isn't actually the first time that I've seen that I haven't had audio. In fact, that night when I got back to my accommodation, I checked out the vision and saw that there was no sound. So, what went wrong? Well, to do that, I need to set up on my little GoPro over here and show you what I found out. Okay, so this is my vlogging setup for my GoPro. It's using the little Ulanzi cage, and you can see there I've got my little audio type rig underneath, and it's going up into the Rode Video Micro. I've actually done a video on this, and I'll just leave a link up the top there for you to have a look at a bit later on if you like. What I did was I went through a bit of a process of elimination. I thought, okay, is there something wrong with the microphone on top of the camera? What I did to test that theory was I took the microphone off and I put it onto my Canon 200D, which I'm filming with right now, and I did an audio test quickly back at my Acom. This is a test to see if the audio is working on the shotgun microphone for the Canon 200D. So you can see there from that clip there was nothing wrong with the microphone, so that then led me to think, okay, there is something wrong with the GoPro itself. You know, maybe it might have been a loose connection here, but it wasn't that. What I did was I just checked out into my preferences, and I just go into preferences here. If you just scroll down a little tiny bit, input, output, just there, and you click on that. Now at the moment it's got audio input saying standard mic, which is fine, that's perfect for the Rode Video Micro. Here was my problem. The setting was actually on powered mic, and of course the Rode Video Micro isn't a powered mic, it gets its power from the GoPro itself, which is why I had no audio. And the reason why that was on that setting was because I had just purchased the Rode Wireless Go, and for some reason, I don't know why, I had switched it over to powered mic for the Rode Wireless Go, when realistically I could have had both those microphones working on just the standard mic input like that. I've learned a lesson here that I make sure that I just leave it on standard mic, and it works both for the Rode Video Micro as well as the Rode Wireless Go. Now when it comes to YouTube, I view it as an educational tool as well as a bit of an entertainment tool. But I get to see a lot of other landscape photographers' vlogs, and I learn a lot from them. And I hope this video helps you learn from the mistakes that I've made. And this is the reason why I'm making this video. I don't want this whole trip that I went to for the waterfall to be, you know, wasted. So no audio on all my bits to camera. But I don't know if you've noticed, have a look at my ear through some of these clips. Notice that big chunk of stuff on my ear? Well, that's actually dried up blood. And it wasn't until my wife actually said to me, "Hey Adrian, what's that on your ear?" And I realized that I had cut myself shaving in the morning, and there was this big chunk of dried up blood on my ear. So about halfway through filming, we had to wipe that off and get that all sorted. So that was another thing that I didn't realise and of course went wrong. Now besides the audio failure, the big chunk of dried up blood hanging off my ear, the Lilydale falls that I went to weren't actually running because there was actually a bit of a drought happening in Tasmania at the time. So the first set of waterfalls that I went to, like seriously, I could have just turned on a garden hose and that would have been the same type of effect going over the waterfalls. So that was a bit of a waste of time. I had a look around there, looked for different frames that I could possibly get, and there was just nothing. So with that one, I went on to the second waterfalls hoping that they would have been flowing a bit better. They were actually flowing a little bit better, but once again, they weren't anything to write home about. I searched around, I looked for different frames, I went from different angles trying to use foreground, and still nothing. So I went through the process of showing you what a polarizer would do. I put the polarizer on the front of the camera, and as you can see here in this clip, I'm twisting it around and you can just see that glare coming off the water, and you can see the rocks clearly, or more clearly, underneath the water in the foreground. But seriously, the frame that I ended up getting, it just wasn't worth post-processing. It was that ordinary. I don't waste my time when I see something where it's just not worth post-processing, and it's not worth showing you guys at the end of the day. The thing is, the trip wasn't a complete waste of time. As I was packing up, we were walking back to the car park. My wife was filming me at the time, and I looked back over my left shoulder and I just noticed this bit of sun had broken through the cloud and was coming down through the canopy. And you can just see this clip where I'm walking across to this little section here, and I look back up towards the waterfall, and you can just hear me say to my wife, "Oh, Christy, stop for a second." So I told her to stop filming because, first of all, my vlogging camera was down to its last bar. So another thing that went wrong. I had been out filming the day before at the lavender farm close by, and I didn't have a chance to fully charge up the battery that night. So yeah, we were down to 1 bar on this camera. So sure enough, the battery ended up going dead, another thing that went wrong, and I didn't get the opportunity to film this shot. So you can see that the sun had broken through the forest canopy and the rays were coming down on the waterfall, as minimal as what the waterfall was, but at least I had a nice foreground there, so not a complete loss. The whole experience of not getting the audio had taught me a valuable lesson, and that night I made sure that from now on, when I was going to film, in fact you can see in my next video, which I'm going to be showing you next week, that I actually do a little tiny audio test. This is a test for the audio, just checking out the audio. It's just a quick audio test to make sure that I've got audio happening, and then I can go, up a mountain or go on a long hike and just know that everything's working. And sometimes I have some great success, but in this case I had a really bad day. I had a failure, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys because, look, I've tried to turn a negative into a positive because I wanted to share this experience with you, and that, hopefully you guys can take away something from it. But what about you guys out there in YouTube land? Have you had really bad failures when it comes to your videos? I'd really like to hear about them. Just leave, a comment down below and I'd love to read about them. Well guys, thanks so much for watching. As I said, I have just wanted to share this video, and hopefully it will help you if you get troubles with the audio on your GoPro, and maybe you'll take something from it that, yes, just do a little audio clip before your video starts, because the last thing you want to do is, hike for miles and miles, get up to the top of a mountain, or you've just driven for miles and miles, and make sure that the audio on your video works. Well guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week when I continue on with my series in Tasmania. This time I'm visiting the beautiful Bay of Fires in Bennelong Bay, and I have to admit this place is just jaw-dropping for photography. And I think I flew my drone the most ever in the whole time I've owned it. Okay, that's it. I'll see you next week.